everybody, I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me once again is Kendall Scudder, state chair for the Texas Democratic Party. Chair Scudder, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Brittany. It's good to see you again.
It is good to see you, especially because there's just so much news coming out of the Lone Star State. We have a wide-ranging, Texas-centric conversation today, so I want to dive right in. I want to talk about the 2025 redistricting battle that started in Texas. You and I have talked about it. Just weeks ago, after a panel of federal judges blocked Texas's new congressional map that favors Republicans, the Supreme Court voted to allow it. And this new map, as you and I have discussed before, could have the potential to flip 5 congressional seats that are blue to now red. So what's your reaction to the decision?
Well, I mean, the reason that it is disappointing is not just an opinion of mine. All you have to do is read the opinions. If you read the opinions from the panel of judges that sent this up, you had one that was a 170-page, well thought out legal argument as to why these maps were illegal. And then you had the one dissenting vote on the panel that was basically a judge name calling other judges on the panel. And then it goes up to the Supreme Court, and Alito and his buddies decided that they were going to stay a partisan ruling instead of doing what was in accordance with the law. I wish I could be surprised by it. This is the same court that said the president was above the law, and they're about to do it again. They have become a panel of partisan political hacks, and it's a real shame because this is a once prestigious institution that Americans felt, were responsible stewards of the law. Now they're only serving Donald Trump, and it's pretty gross.
The Supreme Court voted in favor of upholding the Texas redrawn maps 6-3 based on ideological lines, and Justice Alito voted with the majority. And in his opinion, he said that it's indisputable that the impetus behind creating the maps was for, quote, partisan advantage, pure and simple, and it wasn't race-based. And you're shaking your head right now. Seems like you disagree. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, it's ludicrous. The whole reason the maps were drawn in the first place was because the Justice Department sent a letter to Greg Abbott and said, for racial purposes, you need to redraw these maps. Don't take my word for it. Read the letter. So yeah, there were partisan advantages for Republicans. Don't get me wrong. I'm acknowledging and understand that. But the reason they were drawn, the governor has straight up said the reason they drew it was because they got the letter from the Justice Department. And that letter from the Justice Department said they were drawing it based on racial purposes. So Alito's completely full of shit. And I'm sorry, he can try to spin this as much as he wants to. He is a subservient political hack to Donald Trump, and he is obfuscating the law of this country. We are in a constitutional crisis with this court.
So what's next for Texas then? Is that it? Are your hands tied as a Democrat?
Well, the maps are what they're going to be. We, as Democrats, follow court orders. We aren't Republicans. So this is what the courts say we're going to do. So this is how filing operated. Filing in Texas closed yesterday on December 8th, and we filed individuals based on the 2025 illegal maps.
In our conversations in the past, you have been really supportive of Prop 50, which was Governor Newsom in California, his retaliation to these redrawn maps in Texas. Prop 50 has the potential to flip 5 red seats in California blue. Do you think other states then, based on what the Supreme Court decided here, should then follow Governor Newsom's lead?
Absolutely. I think they should, not because I believe in partisan gerrymandering, by the way. I believe in nonpartisan redistricting committees on a federal level. That's what we need. The last time that bill came up, every Democrat voted for it. Every Republican voted against it. But the reason that the Democrats have to do that is because the Republicans are doing it. And if we don't play by the same set of rules, it's going to put a lot of good ideas and good programs in jeopardy because Republicans are just trying to get elected to dismantle government. And so Democrats have to do it. And I think every blue state governor has a responsibility to do it. And if anything, it'll hold a fire to the feet of Republicans to jump on board national nonpartisan redistricting committees so that voters can pick their electeds, not the other way around.
Democrats nationwide really seem split when it comes to this type of retaliatory redistricting. Some, like yourself, have argued that fighting fire with fire is really the only way to save democracy. Others have argued that this eye for an eye type of redistricting isn't really how democracy works. It's not right when Republicans do it, and then it's certainly not right then when Democrats do it. The Maryland State Senate said back in October that they aren't going ahead with redrawing their congressional map mid-cycle, and in part, I want to read something that Maryland Senate President Bill Ferguson said. This is what he reportedly wrote in a letter. Despite deeply shared frustrations about the state of our country, mid-cycle redistricting for Maryland presents a reality where the legal risks are too high, the timeline for action is dangerous, the downside risk to Democrats is catastrophic, and the certainty of our existing map would be undermined. What do you make of his reasoning there?
Yeah, Ferguson should have a primary opponent.
And do you think that anyone who holds that should have a primary opponent?
I think that if you are holding the position that Democrats should operate under different rules than Republicans, you are failing to meet this moment. Okay, then you do not understand. Democrats have been campaigning for years saying democracy's at stake. This is your moment to do something about it. So either Bill Ferguson was lying to people when he was campaigning and saying that, or he's failing to meet a moment. Regardless, he should have someone primary in.
And I know that you said Texas Democrats, we will follow a court order. Essentially, there's no more action on these redrawn maps. Is anything changing regarding strategy? Is there anything that Texas Democrats are going to do differently, perhaps maybe to then pluck more independent voters, pluck more moderate voters, even perhaps switch a Texas Republican to a Texas Democrat?
Yeah, there's a couple of prongs here on what our strategy is. I would say the number one strategy is that there were 1.1 million Democrats that voted in 2020 in Texas and chose to stay home in 2024. You put them in focus groups, they'll tell you why they didn't vote. They don't think the Democrats fight hard enough. They think that the Democrats negotiate away the things that are important to them. So we have an obligation to show up and make sure that those Democrats understand that at the Texas Democratic Party, we are throwing down and fighting for them every day. We will take on whatever billionaire, whatever banker, whatever bootleg bastard we have to make sure that the little guy gets his seat at the table. That is who we are. So that's number one. Texas is 47th in the country in voter turnout. We have lots of room to grow with regards to turning people out to vote. But number two, it's showing up in every corner of this state. Really exciting news out of Texas yesterday. Democrats, for the first time for either party since 1974, have recruited a candidate for every state and federal office in Texas. And what that means is that it does not matter where you live. It does not matter how long you have been in office. If you are a Republican in Texas and you want to hold public office, you don't get a free pass. You have to fight me for it. And that, I think, is crucial to having a successful democracy. And it's the sign of a healthy party. An unhealthy party that doesn't have a chance, doesn't recruit candidates in every corner of this state, and does not have active primaries up and down the ballot. Folks in Texas understand that this is a unique opportunity that we have that's on the horizon to deliver the government back to working people and to take it away from the billionaire class that has stolen this government, run amok, and used it as their own personal feeding trough. They cut every dollar that goes to working class people like us. They hoard every penny for themselves because their greed knows no bounds, and the working people of this state are ready to take their government back.
I do not want to switch gears here just a little bit. There's been a lot of news in the Texas Senate race, especially as it involves the Democratic primary. Big moves this week. Former Congressman Colin Allred dropped out of the race. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is in. What are your thoughts on the shakeup here?
Well, look, we're going to have probably the most expensive primary in Texas this year between Jasmine Crockett, James Tallarico, and other candidates who filed. I think that that's wonderful. Primaries are the sign of a healthy party, and those primary dollars are going to be spent to turn Democrats out to vote. If primaries were bad for a political party, Republicans would have been losing Texas 2 decades ago. So what it means is that Texas Democrats are in the hunt. And they understand how important it is to get our nomination because you have an opportunity to win. That hasn't been the case in Texas in a long time. So expect to see more primaries on the horizon. I think both Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico provide unique and awesome opportunities for the state. Our strategy will be devised based on who the people of Texas choose to nominate for us.
Who do you want to win? Because I know that there was a lot of excitement surrounding State Representative James Tallarico. He fundraised over $6 million in just the 3 weeks that since he announced back in September, back in Q3. Who do you want to win, him or Crockett for the primary?
So where Texas is a little bit different than other states is that our Secretary of State, our elections administrators, they don't manage the primary election. In Texas, the party does. So as the chairman of the state party, I'm the chief primary administrator for Texas. And so I don't pick sides in primaries. I know both James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett. I'm good friends with them both. I think that they are wonderful Texans who are standing up and fighting for what's right. Now, I'll say they both have very different styles. And our party is unique because it has a lot of different kinds of people in it. We aren't a monolith where everybody's the same, walking, goose stepping to Donald Trump. Okay. We have a lot of different people with a lot of different perspectives, and they're going to have an opportunity to have their voices heard. The voters in Texas will make those decisions. Let me make one more point on that. Party bosses shouldn't put their thumbs on the scale. I'm a firm believer that the political establishment has no right telling the people of Texas who their nominees should be. So I'm not putting my thumb on the scale. I'm not engaging in picking sides in any way. That's the decision of the voters, and I'm looking forward to seeing who they pick so that we can sprint to the finish line in November.
As the state chair, though, of the Democratic Party, do you think that Texas is flippable? Solidly red state. The last time a Democrat served in the Senate was over 30 years ago. But Democrats pour millions of dollars into these Senate races. They're very high profile. They oftentimes make national headlines. Do you think Texas is flippable?
Yeah, Texas is a very expensive state to operate in. And anybody that thinks you're going to wake up overnight and flip every single seat is just kind of naive. I mean, that's just not how the world works. This is going to take cycle over cycle of investments and building. And so, yeah, we've spent a lot of money in a lot of Senate races, and it's helped us to build our data infrastructure, to build our volunteer infrastructure. We're going to continue to build on that. We're a state that has 20 media markets. I think people forget. I mean, we are the most expensive state to operate in. And so it's going to take a lot of resources. And Texas has always been treated as a place where people, particularly Democrats, farm money out and take it to other states. We need other states to be willing to step up and help support us now. We've been there for them. We need their help. We need grassroots dollars from all over the country to help us build a war chest and take it back. And I think we have some unique opportunities this year to flip some seats and make this country proud. I mean, hell, don't underestimate a Texas Democrat. We delivered 5 congressional seats to this country from outside of our state this year. We can do some pretty remarkable things to meet a moment. We just have to all operate like we're on a team. Don't use these primaries to tear each other down. Instead, use them as opportunities to build our party up and build our cause and movement up.
And total left turn here. Last question for you. President Trump issued Congressman Henry Cuellar a full and unconditional pardon last week after the Democrat was indicted on bribery charges last year. President Trump said that the Biden administration unfairly went after Cuellar because he, quote, bravely spoke out against open borders and the Biden border catastrophe. Cuellar has since announced he is running for re-election as a Democrat. What are your thoughts on this whole story?
Texas Democrats, like I said earlier, are very diverse. We have Democrats ranging all the way from Henry Cuellar to Greg Cuellar, the chair of the Progressive Caucus. We are a big tent party with a lot of people that have a lot of different ideas. But what we all share in our vision is that we believe that working people should have the opportunities over these billionaires who have run amok on our government. We want to put the jam on the bottom shelf so the little people can reach it. And so sometimes we have different ideas, and that's okay. I'm thrilled to have a really diverse slate of candidates that are running all across the state. I welcome Congressman Cuellar, who filed his paperwork to run for re-election as a Democrat. He has done a great job serving the people of his district. He and I would have made different decisions on several issues, but that's okay. We don't have to agree on all issues. What's important is that he's fighting for the little guy and making sure that he's being true to who he is as a Democrat, that is somebody that is unapologetic with a backbone of steel, ready to fight for the working class.
Chairman Scudder, I appreciate your time today. You're welcome back anytime. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.